Ten years ago, I could not have imagined sitting in front of a camera knowing that this information was going to go out to the world and saying that there was a piece of information that could give you insights into yourself and that it was based on. This is Kira of All Trades on Phresh Phactory TV, and today we're going to discuss where in the world is your career going. Hi, and thank you for joining me. My name is Kira, and this is Kira of All Trades on Phresh Phactory TV. Today, I have to make an assessment of where I think is the best location for people to go to get information about their career. While I was sitting around thinking about what would be the best direction to send people, I essentially had to go through my own history. What have I done in my history to be able to better understand myself? I have done tests, I have done quizzes, I have done aptitude tests, I've done physical tests, all in the honor of trying to assess where I am, where I was going, where I could be, all of those things. Even as kids, we take assessments that we don't even know. When we're first born, we go to the doctor, and the doctor puts us on a scale, and they say, by comparison to every other person in the world, you are this many pounds, you're this tall, and essentially you are on track, you are larger than, you are smaller than, and as time progresses, they compare you to the progression of others. Every single assessment we've ever taken in life, whether it's a school test to describe whether or not we read our history chapters, whether or not we have taken care of our physical fitness, eaten well, and taken a physical assessment on what our capacity is for weight, all of them compare our results to another person. In my search to find what career was best for me, it actually took me all over the place and mostly all over the world as I was working. What I learned is not everyone gets information the same way. There are things in the Western world that maybe places in the Far East have no interest in, and vice versa. One thing that I found is that there are assessments that I am interested in that don't compare me to anyone else. You see, in my history, I have always wanted to know about myself so that I could better understand how to maneuver through this world. I've always felt like I was different. I've always felt like my understanding for things was separate and individual, and I never felt the need to compare myself to others. I just didn't know exactly where I belonged, or if I belonged. I just basically decided to be a loner because it made the most sense. Way after I got these gray hairs here, I went on a haphazard trip and looked for some ways that I could better assess myself individually, again, without being compared to another person. In this search of the internet, because anybody can go on the internet and search anything and get any kind of answers, I came up with a birth chart. So for anyone who knows, a birth chart is filled with keys to unlock information about you yourself that isn't in comparison to anyone else. I had no idea what a birth chart was and how important it would be for my career, for my lifestyle, and for my forward trajectory to help me to guide myself to really unlock the potential that I knew that I had. A birth chart is probably the most woo-woo thing I can think of in my history that I tried to explain to someone that instantly got their reaction. So a birth chart is essentially a blueprint of yourself your personality, your actions, and ways that you participate in life that is stamped at the time and date that you were born. 10 years ago, I could not have imagined sitting in front of a camera knowing that this information was going to go out to the world and saying that there was a piece of information that could give you insights into yourself and that it was based on planetary movements. It's even hard right now for me to think that this is the direction that I plan on going with this conversation. So a birth chart has a lot of information in it, and you are actually probably familiar with some of the information that is present, but you may not have heard it in this particular context. A birth chart starts with your zodiac sign. Everyone knows their zodiac sign, and it's kind of a 50-50 split. Sometimes if I mention a zodiac sign, people say, well, I don't believe in that. I totally understand. I just basically didn't understand what it was and what it was based off of. So in my birth chart, it shows that I'm a Cancer sun sign. So people call that your zodiac sign. So I'm a Cancer. A lot of things about Cancers, I don't know if you know any Cancers, but they're generally very nice and nurturing people, very family oriented, very stable people, and also it represents the mother. So as much as homemakers and mothers can be caring and nurturing, in order to run the household, in order to maintain a household, you have to be a leader. Those are things that describe a Cancer. And those are things that I identified with for a very long time before I discovered what a birth chart was. Those things still describe me, but I think I more understand now that everyone is multifaceted and you are only getting part of the experience for information that can help you define where you want to go and where you currently are by using all of the different facets of a birth chart. I'm not exactly an astrologer. I'm not a person who understands in detail how it's created. I don't know why the planetary alignment at the time that you were born has anything to do with describing your personality or what kind of career that you would be good at. All I know is, as a person who cares about having empirical data, as many birth charts as I have read for other people, I just know that they are correct. So I did one for myself, and because the name of this show is Kira of All Trades, I'm just going to tell you what Kira did. I went through the birth chart and I found another very important aspect, which is my rising sign. So this birth chart has plenty of information in it. It describes almost every planet that you've ever thought of in this reading. And it essentially will describe to you what each part of you does and why and how it should work and all that. I don't have every part of my birth chart memorized, but I do reference it almost on a daily basis, even 5 years after having it drawn. So what I was looking for at the time was to figure out how I could fulfill my career potential. I just knew that I could do more than what I was doing. And no matter what job I went to, no matter how prestigious, no matter how suspicious I was of the circumstances, I just could not figure out where exactly I was to go. So one thing that I found in that birth chart was the description of Mercury. Some people use their rising sign. That's normally the next thing that people find that is very important. The sun sign describes you overall. So as I mentioned, I'm a Cancer sun. It describes you overall. I am a nice person. I am nurturing. I am a family oriented person. I am all of those things. But there's also other things about me that I couldn't just put my finger on. If I was to describe it, it's basically being a know-it-all. And I have had 1 or 2 conversations in my whole life where a person actually made mention of something similar. I say know-it-all in quotes because I've really used every piece of information that I could acquire over my lifetime and my thirst for knowledge to be as beneficial to my friends and family as possible because I'm a Cancer, right? So I want to help those people. I never use information against people, and I always have their best interest in mind. At least I feel like that, and I hope that's the intention. So as I was reading through this birth chart, I found out 2 important things. We are not necessarily only our zodiac sign or our sun sign. There's also another important aspect called a rising sign. The rising sign is how you maneuver your day-to-day life. So for me, mine is in Gemini. If you know any Geminis, you know they are smart, you know they're witty, you know they question scenarios. They want to know. They're very engaging, sometimes a little flirtatious. One of the other important things about Geminis is that they're able to put pieces together. It's as if their data acquisition is on 24/7, even if they're sleeping. If you know a Gemini, it's like they hear and see everything all the time, and they're always acquiring knowledge. This is how I've been my whole life. And by seeing that aspect on my birth chart and reading about it, that really gave me a peace of mind to help me understand more about myself. It's as if I already knew exactly the type of person that I am, but it gave me a level of confirmation that I needed to not feel so bad about using it. It's as if I had the information or a superpower and I was afraid to use it. So by reading this assessment, by reading this birth chart and seeing that this is an area that I could really excel in, it gave me the confidence to use it. There's another important aspect for me. There's a particular degree that you can have a planet located in. Very important pieces of your birth chart come in degrees. The very last degree on any planet is 29. They say that 29th degree of any planet is basically your culmination of mastery of that area. And if you so happen to have a 29 degree planet in your birth chart, that is automatically a place that you can find success if you are to move towards it. So imagine, at the time I was working as a researcher. So I was already using part of those question asking Gemini qualities, and I just didn't have a clear understanding of exactly where it was coming from. So what I did was take the information that I had at my job, again as a researcher, and I took those pieces of information from different areas, and I eventually became a patented inventor, because not only was I doing my own research, I made friends with other people in other groups, and I went to find out what they were doing. I would go and visit their labs. I would go and see what kind of experiments they were running. Not only that, I also had an external lab that was outdoors in Colorado that I would visit often. So I had an indoor lab where I was doing research and taking in loads of data. I had an exterior laboratory that was outside in the Colorado mountains inside of a mine. So Kira has been a miner as well as a lab technician. And I took the information that I learned from there, and then the friends that I made that also worked in that research company, I was as an adjunct or an additional employee or additional member of their team to do different projects, etc. So I was picking up information from everywhere. I was building great relationships with everyone, and I could not figure out why I didn't want that job. It was crazy. I'm a multi-patented inventor. I was excelling way beyond where I belong as far as my education and the resume says. And I couldn't figure out why, if I was doing so well, I just hated going up there every day. I just couldn't figure it out. When I read my birth chart, I read that I am a 29-degree Mercury in Gemini. And what I learned about a 29-degree Gemini Mercury is this is the perpetual student and teacher. This is the friend. This is the collaborator. This is the motivational speaker. This is the media mogul. These are the places that this sign belongs. So, what was I doing inside of a laboratory? Why was I only working with one company? Why was I not taking this potential of gathering data from different experiences and creating something new or improving things? Why was I not doing that in a larger capacity, in a way that could assist people who really needed that assistance? By reading my birth chart and finding out that I was a 29-degree Gemini in Mercury, that's what got me to sit here. This may be many years beyond where it belongs, but I actually don't believe that that's the case. I think that as I was trying to fulfill what my capacity was in a job, in just overall life satisfaction, meaning that I was doing the full capacity of what I was capable of, I knew I wasn't doing. If you are feeling as though you don't have a clear understanding of where you stand today versus where you know you can be, if you even have just a little inkling that there's something else going on that you can't exactly put your finger on, and you would like to see it explained in a written form so that you can see and read and digest more information about you, maybe things that people have already told you about yourself. All I can tell you from my experience is that this information can change your life. Never once 5 years ago would I have been sitting in front of a camera. Never once 10 years ago would I have been taking my own personal experiences and sharing it openly. It's like reading my birth chart, confirming with myself things about me that I already knew. It just gave me the confidence to move in the direction that I really belong. It gives you the information that you need in order to know yourself better. But in general, if you know yourself better, this is beyond career. This is knowledge of self. That is the beginning of all acceleration. If you're moving slow, it will help you speed up. If you are not confident, it will give you some kind of solace to confirm what you already know. I'm not trying to convince anyone to get a birth chart because it worked for me. All I can do is tell you that on Kira of All Trades, we believe in having empirical data that can help you gain confidence to move into the dream position that you want to be in. For me, this is step one. This is a very early episode of this show. At some point, I know it will be more because I'm working in the capacity that I feel that I'm growing in. At no other points in my previous work was I able to feel like I was going to grow into it. Now I work with businesses that need solutions. I can sit in a meeting and I can hear what a person from one department says. They state their problem and I can hear it, and I can hear the solution. And another person from a totally different area can have a totally different problem, and I can use all the experiences that I've gathered over my career to then find an improvement or a solution to the issue in almost any area. And I'm confident in those solutions because I now feel as if I'm working in the area in which I belong. So it's not a magic potion. It's not a magic pill. It's not going to give you anything that you don't already have. But for me, what I needed to become Kira of All Trades and have full confidence in my capacity was confirmation. Confirming that it was okay for me to be as big and as grand and as helpful and as generous and as impactful as I really knew that I could be. That's all I have for today's episode of Kira of All Trades on Phresh Phactory TV. If you're watching this on YouTube, please smash the like button, hit subscribe, and please join us for the next episode. If you're watching on Amazon Fire TV, thank you so much for coming. Please watch also on Roku. If you're interested in getting a birth chart created, send us an email and we'll be glad to respond back. We'll find all of the necessary details below in the box on YouTube, and we will put a link onto our website to where you can order it. You can email us at tv@freshfactory.co, and any other information. If you're a business that wants to hang with Phresh Phactory Inc. and our wonderful team, if you have problems that we can possibly solve, if there are solutions that you need that you would like to have our opinion on, please feel free to give us a call. The number's below. Also, you can email us at tv@freshfactory.co. Today, the main concept is that this is confirmation for yourself. Everyone needs to know where they belong, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in comparison to another person. Everyone needs a compass. How long will it take you to find out where you need to be? The more time you have in that position, the more time you have fulfilling that destiny, the better you can become and the more impact you can make. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much.